Malik Willis, see where he's currently going in ADP. We go to his page. Currently going as QB 21. Now, his profile is pretty incredible. Obviously, he's playing on the Dolphins, and they don't really have any weapons. But when we look back at his games last year, let's go look at the game he started against Baltimore. Scored 32.5 DraftKings points and 31.5 points on underdog. He was 18 of 21 for 288 yards, 1 touchdown, and then he had 9 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Obviously, that is a super exciting fantasy football profile. But the concern is, will he be able to do that in Miami? I think that he will be. He's definitely got a tough situation because they don't have weapons. I think their wide receiver 1 likely this year is going to be Caleb Douglas, who's a 3rd-round rookie out of Texas Tech, who a lot of people did not expect to be drafted that highly. And then they have Chris Bell, who's a rookie receiver with a torn ACL and will miss a good chunk of time. He might be ready earlier in the season than what we were initially anticipating. It does sound like they are expecting him to play this year. But beyond that, they've got kind of some washed veterans and guys like Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, Malik Washington, guys that aren't really going to change much. They're not difference makers. They're just Jags, right? They're just other guys, just an average guy. But the thing about Malik Willis, when we look at these advanced analytics, when he was on the field, it was incredible. His true passer rating was the absolute best at 149. His TD rate at 8.6% was the absolute best. His completion percentage under pressure was 2 of 49. His success rate was the top. His EPA per dropback was the top. His CPOE was the top as well. And when you watch the tape, like I watched every single one of his plays last year, the dude is calm, cool, collected, and he's an elite athlete, an absolute elite athlete. I think in general, the industry so far has been under the impression that Malik Willis is just a stopgap. They need to do something, just to get the team to move forward. But the plan is to basically lose games this year and then draft a quarterback in next year's draft. I don't see it that way. I don't think that that's their plan. I think listening to the general manager and the front office talk, as well as the head coach, Jeff Hafley, and Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, I get the sense that they were very intentional about bringing Malik Willis in because they feel like he's a guy that they can build around. They are definitely not ready to be a full-on contender this year. There's no doubt about that. They are missing a lot of pieces. The highest paid guy on the team is Tua Tagovailoa, and obviously he's not on the team. So they obviously are a team that has plenty of holes. But the way I see it, and when I really dug into the Dolphins, I see a team that is going to have NFL guys that are going to have long careers in this league that are in a position now to compete. Like lots of times these 3rd and 4th rounders, like I think there's a lot of guys that would have had more success in the league if they got chances. In Miami, a lot of these young players, they got a lot of young players that are going to get opportunity to play, opportunity to develop, and they're going to be competing at every single position. This team is going to be a hungry team. This is going to be a no-ego team. This is going to be a team that is these are individuals that are trying to carve out a long career in the NFL. And that's dangerous to me. Like, that's a team that I wouldn't want to face, a scrappy team. And I think that's what they're going to be. I think they're going to win. Like, their win total, if we go to pull up their team page here at MillyMakerManiac.com. Let's go to the Dolphins. Their win total is only 4.5. I would definitely take the over on that. They do have a tough schedule, 2nd worst in the league. But I think they're going to be a really scrappy team. When we look at their playoff schedule, these are offenses that can score a lot of points in the Packers, Chargers, and Bills. And I don't expect them to win any of these games, but we're not playing a game that has anything to do with whether or not the team on the field actually wins. All we care about are fantasy points. And if they're likely going to be trailing in these games, that's an environment where I think Malik Willis can have a lot of success. I think there's a lot of misconception from people too that just look at the stats and, the fact that he's a fifth-year player, I believe. This is his fifth year. Yeah, this is his fifth year. Um, this player that really hasn't he fizzled out in Tennessee, but wasn't really given a shot there to be fair. And then he's developed in Green Bay, and when he's got opportunities in Green Bay, he's played at a super high level. And it's not just like these easy, you know, dink and dunk throws. This man is throwing the ball downfield and he's throwing it with precision. Like again, you don't put all these numbers together, even if it is a small sample size. It is. It is a small sample size. I want to acknowledge that, but you're not number one in EPA per drop back. You're not number one in success rate. You're not number one in TD rate. You're not number one in true passer rating. You're not number one in best ball completion percentage. If you're not making grown up, big time, elite throws, and he is making those. And I think that he's going to be able to do that this year. There's going to be some growing pains. There's no doubt about that. And I think a lot of that it is going to be because of the weapons around him. And we've heard a little bit of that coming out of camp. That's had his ADP drop a little bit, a few spots because of that. And it's not always going to be pretty. I'm not going to pretend that it's going to be pretty because of, the weakness of the weapons around him. But that offensive line should be pretty solid. I'm okay with their coaching staff. Jeff Hafley, more of a defensive guy, but Bobby Slowick was the offensive coordinator in Houston, was a big part of CJ Stroud's successful rookie year. And then they had a bad second year, and that all got put on Slowick. Slowick went from being like the guy that for sure was going to get a head coaching job at the end of the year to a guy that got fired. But then they bring in a new OC in Houston last year, and that didn't play out well for CJ Stroud. He's continued to regress since his rookie year with Slowick. I think Slowick is fine, and that I think they're going to put him in positions to succeed. So all of that being said, I think he's going to have weeks where he is top 5 quarterback. He's got potential. He's got weekly upside to be QB1 multiple times. Like I would be very surprised if he plays all 17 games, if he doesn't have 4 or 5 weeks where he's not a top 5 QB. And I bet you he's going to have 6 to 8 boom game weeks, which is 25 plus points on DraftKings because of his rushing ability. But it's not just his rushing ability. If teams try to focus on that rushing ability, if they can develop any sort of passing weapon, this dude can throw the football. He is extremely poised in the pocket. When he's moving even within the pocket and outside of the pocket, he's looking downfield, and then he runs when he has to. So like I think he's a real quarterback, and I do believe that the Dolphins' plan is to build around this guy. Their hope is that he can prove enough this year that he is the quarterback of the future, and that they can build through the draft at other positions. That is how I read what their plan is. Now, whether or not that comes to fruition, time will tell. But his upside is just way too high to be taken at QB 21. This is a dude that can win. He can win a best ball championship for us. He can put up 30-plus point games week in and week out because of his rushing upside and because of his ability to throw the deep ball effectively. So Malik Willis, I think, is a fantastic pick in best ball. As you can tell, I've invested a lot of money in him. Most of the time when I'm getting him, he's my QB3 as well. I don't think you have to stack him. He's a guy that I like to take when I really don't have any players that I can stack with the quarterbacks remaining. He's a guy that I'll play unstacked. Maybe I can tack on like a Greg Dulcich or a Caleb Douglas or a Chris Bell later on in the draft. He's easy to backstack, but I don't need to stack him. Him alone is totally fine. I love tagging him on to my Devon Achane teams. I think that's a really solid matchup because it's going to be Willis and Achane are going to be the two dudes there. And I think that Achane will be his best weapon in the passing game as well. But I would not be surprised if he has a QB 12 season or better. And I would not be surprised when he has multiple weeks as a top 5 QB. He's going to be a guy that's going to have use in Bestball, and I think it's pretty unlikely that he gets benched. Like, they're not gonna go to Quinn Ewers. They're probably not gonna have a lot of success, but it's not gonna be on Willis. Willis is gonna be a guy that's gonna keep them in games. My biggest concern about Willis, honestly, is the injury risk. He did leave that game that he started in Baltimore with an injury. He's a little bit on the smaller side. Go back to his profile. 6'1", 225, so I take that back. He's not small. He's a stout dude, but um, if he takes a lot of hits, that is something that could obviously derail his value if he's not out there on the field. That's my biggest concern with him. But where we're getting him um, late in drafts at QB 21, right now his ADP is at 134 on DK. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. Give me a guy with upside at that point in the draft, a guy that can help me advance, and a guy that can, in the playoffs, in matchups where they're probably going to be trailing, and those games will have playoff implications for the teams that they're playing. I like his chances of having big games in those 3 weeks that we need him in the playoffs. So that's why I'm so high on Malik Willis.